Hey guys, so today we're going to do a two-step equation, which I'll give you a wild guess. It's an equation with two steps. There you go. All right. A lot of things are going to stay very similar. Remember, the goal is going to isolate the variable or get the variable alone or by itself. All right. I'm going to say get the variable alone or get it by itself. Now here are the two steps. Number one, this is not, there are other ways to do this, but I think this is the easiest way to get this done. So the first step is going to be get rid of what's being added or subtracted first. This is also the non-variable. So we're going to get rid of the whatever's being added or subtracted first. We're going to get rid of the non-variable. And you'll see that in a second if you're like, what? Second, we're going to get rid of multiply or divide second. All right. Now, since we're only doing a two-step equation, remember we always have to collect like terms. If that's a possibility, we'll collect like terms. But here, we don't really have to worry about it too much. All right. So we come down here. Notice this time I'm not doing the little graphic organizer. So what I'll do a lot of times as a trick is I'll just make little lines around the equal sign. And I'll just do this to remind myself I can't do something on this side without doing it on this side. And I cannot add the 5 and the 2 together because that equal sign is like a force field. All right? So kind of nerdish and be like, pew, oh, can't cross. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop. Anyway, there's the variable, x. So what I want to get rid of first is, do I want to get rid of the 3, negative 3, or the 5? As I said before, we want to get rid of the non-variable first. All right, so x has a 3 with it, all right, or negative 3 with it, where 5 is just by itself. So we're going to get rid of the plus 5 first. And we're going to do it the same way we did before. How do I get rid of the plus 5? All right, I'm going to say minus 5, both sides. My 5s will cancel out just like they did before. But now I'm going to bring a negative 3x down. So I didn't touch the negative 3, so I'm going to bring it down. And I'm going to say equal 2 minus 5, positive 2, minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These cancel out, and I'm left with negative 3. Now I'm back to a one step. This is negative 3 times x. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Negatives cancel out, 3's cancel out. I'm left with just x. And here is equal to negatives cancel out, 3's cancel out, so I'm left with just 1. And you go, well, how come it's not 1 over here? But remember, what's 1 times anything? It's itself. So it just stays x, and that's my answer. All right, so take about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and see if you can do B. All right, so I'll give you about, let's say 2 minutes. All right, and then see if you can do B. All right, so try that. All right. So again, I'll throw these down. I want to get x by itself. So I have a minus 5. So I'm going to say plus 5 on both sides. My 2x comes down when I cross that out. Negative 9 plus 5. I owe someone 9. I have 4. So I still owe them 4. Oh, sorry, have 5. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. And x will equal negative 2. All right. Again, don't feel like you can't ask questions. All right. Here, looks very ugly. But again, it's just numbers. So again, all right, I'm going to say, how do I get rid of minus 1/2? I plus 1/2. All right, x over 8 equals, common denominator, so negative 7 plus 1 is 6. Negative 6 over 2, which is 3. X over 8 equals negative 3. All right, I can extend this line a little bit. Remember, this means division, so I can times both sides by 8, and x equals negative 24. All right, keep in mind again, if this really drives me crazy, I can say x over 8. I can say x divided by 8 equals negative 3. And I can just say times 8 times 8. So there's another way to do the same thing. All right. So let's skip D for now because it's decimals, so I'm sure you can do it. But let's skip it for now and we'll move on. All right. Let's pick E. All right. So here's where I have like terms again. So I do this. Now I'm not going to get rid of anything because remember this is a 3x, this is an x, and you go, how do I get x by itself? Well, notice there's two different x's. All right, so they're the same thing. So I can always say, like we did before, here's a 3x, here's a negative 5x, and that's negative 2x. And you go, what? Again, what's 3 minus 5? Negative 2. They're both x's, so they stay x. And I can divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, x equals negative 6. So I'm sure this part is easy. It's this part again. These are like terms. I have an x and an x. So which variable do I get alone? Well, I want one variable, so I'm going to take 3x minus 5x and say that's negative 2x. So that gets a little more complicated. All right, same idea here. Negative 9x plus 12x. All right, I can put them together. All right, and so we can figure that out at some point. All right, let's get the word problem. Here's the problem with the word problem. This is just complicated. All right, I'll say it from the very beginning. This is a very complicated word problem. The height at the top of the roller coaster is 10 times the height h of the starting point. So here's my starting point. Here's my top. So what they're saying is I have the top, which is h, and it's 10 times that up here. So 10 times that is up here. So I went from here, I come up. So now I know I'm 10h. I don't know what h is. That's the heart. The heart. That's the height of where I started from. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Next sentence. The height decreases 100 feet from the top to the bottom of the hill. All right. So read what that says. The height decreases. So 10h is my height, and then it decreases 100. So I'm coming here and I'm going, smile. I went down a negative 100 feet. So I went down 100 feet. So then what it says is the height at the bottom of the hill is negative 10 feet. Here's a big clue. Is always means equal. All right? It's always going to give you some kind of idea. So is negative 10 feet. So when I get down, I'm going to be at negative 10 feet. And you go, what does that mean? Well, it kind of says I'm 10 feet below, what I started at. All right, so it's just 10 feet below. So we're just defining it negative 10. Wow, it's late. Negative 10. So don't overthink it. Don't worry about it too much. So that's what we're looking for here. So that becomes my equation. Just because it says it's negative 10, so I say plus 100, 10h equals 90. Divide by 10, and my original height is going to be 9 feet. All right, and so h is equal to 9 feet. All right, again, as you've seen, don't worry about this one too much. You're like, I don't get this. The idea, can I set the equation up? Does this equation make sense? I'm at the top, which is 10h, 10 times h. I go down 100, and when it says when I get down 100, I'm at negative 10. So that's what that means. So if you can set it up, that's what we're trying to look for. So that's the big part of it. All right. So here are the answers to the homework. It's just on the back of this, and that's what we'll work on. So that's it. Good luck.